everyone. I am a boomer. Any others? A few, right? Okay. So I want to talk to you today about boomers and their perceptions of senior living and the brands that you represent. And there's a myth out there that boomers are just locked into their brands, right? And we were raised on Levi's and Tide and Kleenex. I don't know about you guys. I still wear Levi's. But the fact is that when a brand actually connects with you, when it has brand attributes that speak to you, well, you're going to stick with it. But when that goes away, all of a sudden, there's something else that happens. And so we've seen boomers be that dominant, advanced vanguard in moving to new things, leaving the gas guzzler behind, and then living their values as environmentalists for that segment, and moving to the Prius. But a brand has to speak to you. It has to have attributes that are metaphors for living, for excitement, for the future. So there's the brand positioning. What do you stand for? Very often it is expressed in a tagline. There's the brand image and a brand personality. What are those images in people's thinking that get conjured up when they hear a particular brand or a particular industry category? And then there's the brand reputation, right? Are you delivering on the brand promise? Where's the beef? So we've seen efforts over time for companies to kind of make the play to boomers. Ameriprise did this when they were spun out of American Express. They got Dennis Hopper of Easy Rider fame, and they kind of treated all boomers as having previously been hippies and anti-war activists. Well, a bunch of us were. That's me with the ponytail. But not everybody. But there are things that boomers do have in common, but figuring out how to segment and what is in common is not necessarily so simple. So how do boomers today view senior living brands? Well, I sometimes do this exercise in groups like this, senior living, leading age, and whatnot. And I say to everybody, if you participate proudly in the management of a senior living facility, stand up. And the whole audience, just everybody stands up, big smiles, are looking at each other, this is great. And remain standing if you look forward to the day you live in your facility. 50%, 80% immediately sit down. It's this little group that's kind of indecisive, but overwhelming majority sit down. Who are these people? Most of them are boomers. And they're boomers who are inside senior living, on the front lines, day to day. And when they think about their future, this is not it for them. So why is that? What is it that, even with that experience, gets conjured up? So if you go to the websites of a lot of senior living companies, you get things like this. Quality care from such and such senior living. Delivering the best in senior care. Experience the best in senior living. Well, one of the things a brand is supposed to do is to differentiate you. You couldn't figure out what these companies are. There's no differentiation here at all, and a brand should help you do the selling for you. That's what it does. This doesn't sell. And in fact, the image, the brand image of senior living for boomers who do not have a personal relationship with one of your companies is that senior living equals nursing home equals the place to get warehoused and die. That's the mental model. And you have to break through that. And the other part of it, it all looks like Marriott 1956. You know, what is going on with the Chippendale, you know, and the King Louis whatever furniture? You know, this is not the model you want to convey. This is not the self-image that boomers have of themselves as a place that they want to be. And it's even true for older people. This is my mother-in-law. This is Shirley. Shirley in this picture is 98. And at 94, she and my father-in-law first started to consider assisted living. And they went to and they lived in Boston at the time, and they went to a bunch of places. And I had dinner with them one day, one evening of a day that they were there. And Shirley leans over to me and she says, "Jody, these people do not look well." She was 94. At 96, my father-in-law had died. He was the primary cook. She didn't want to cook for herself. That's when she was ready for senior living. But in terms of brands, she didn't know one brand from another. There was no brand that called to her, that said, this is the metaphor for life. This is the metaphor for living. What was it that drew her to the place she eventually decided to live? It was the art studio. It was that big, well-lit room with an art program and an instructor that came in 2 times a week. She's Grandma Moses. She took up painting at 72. But she could envision herself creating in that space, of creating the new, of that adventure, that excitement, that journey. The rest of the place was Chippendale. But that was what psyched her. So there's only one brand, one consumer brand in senior living that has underlying brand attributes that raise the spirit, that give you a sense of, wow, paradise. I could go for that. Nirvana. I could go for that, whether it's grunge rock or the actual thing. But that's Latitude Margaritaville. This is moving from Dullsville and Snoresville to Margaritaville. And it's not that they provide anything that you don't. But what they have is a brand that does the selling for them, which is reflected in the fact that they have a waiting list and demand far exceeding supply. That's the problem to have. But they have the brand that does it for them. So how do you do that? Well, one of the things you have to do is figure out, okay, 78 million boomers, right? More people than France, the UK, or Italy. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You're not going to do the same thing for the entire population of France, the UK, or Italy, right? Any more than you should for boomers. But boomers do have certain things in common, right? We question authority. When I was a kid, I wore a pin that said question authority. I would wear it upside down. New experiences, adventure and excitement, self-sufficiency enable this, right? These are people that they create their own workarounds when they face a challenge, right? Make it easier for them. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Where is happiness in senior living? Not in the actual place, not in your properties. I'm sure there's lots of happiness. But the brand image, that mental model that pops into the mind of all of these tens of millions of people who don't have that personal relationship, where's happiness in that? Where is that metaphor for life? Where is that rising spirit? Dreams and aspirations. There are still things we want to do. In fact, as we get older, we're very much aware of those things we have not yet done, those things we have not yet accomplished. Senior living should be that place that helps people actually do this, and that feeds back on your brand as a differentiator. You know, a brand helps you answer the third question of strategy. The first question, what are you going to sell? The second question, who are you going to sell it to? The third question is, why should anybody buy from you and not the other guy? That's what a brand helps you do, to create that differentiation. And if you can help people fulfill dreams and aspirations, that's a differentiator. you also have to understand that boomers do not look in the mirror and say, that's an old guy. Now, it's true, I look in the mirror and I still see a full head of hair. But, okay, go with it. When we did research at AARP a bunch of years ago when I was running the research group, we found that we were trying to define old. How do people define old for themselves? And it was whatever their age was plus 17 years. So it's really like it's actually the next generation, right? And that's true for whatever age you are. Also recognize that we were raised, with Woodstock. People refer to us as the Woodstock generation. Well, only 500,000 of us went. I was 15, my mother wouldn't let me go. But this is so aspirational that people lie to this day that they did go to Woodstock. That's how important it is. That's how much it is at people's core, right? So I don't know that I want to move to Margaritaville. I'm in that segment of boomers, along with my mother, who's not a boomer, she's 89, who believe that if I can't hear a child laugh, shoot me now. I'm not interested in age segregation. But I do want a place that recognizes that sexual relationships are a key to longevity. Make the condoms and the lubricants available. I want a place that's doing day trips to the dispensaries and introducing me to new CBD products that I can put on my knee so that when I play basketball at the age of 65, it doesn't hurt so much. And I want a place with a garage where I can crank it to 11 like Spinal Tap. Bruce Springsteen wrote a song, The River, and there's this lyric, is a dream a lie if it don't come true, or is it something worse? The fulfillment of dreams, that aspiration, that thing we still want to achieve and hold and touch, that metaphor for life, that's what senior living has to become. But it's also helpful to remember that it may be Elvis, it may be Motown, it may be Buddy Holly, James Brown, Janis, Jimmy, or Bruce. We were raised on rock and roll. Thank you.